Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is my May wrap-up. So May has been kind of a difficult month for me. I have not been doing a lot of reading. I just have not been in the mood. I've done some reading and quite a bit of listening, but I've had lots of appointments and we're packing and getting ready for this trip, and so it's just made it more difficult for me to read. But keeping that in mind, I still did manage to get through 12 things. So I'm going to start with my ebooks and library books. So to start off the month, I read The Stone Prince. And The Stone Prince is a guilty pleasure book. I was just in the mood for something light and fluffy and romantic. So I read this one, and it's a book it was a reread for me. I read it before, but I read it so long ago that I couldn't remember what it was about. And basically it's about this girl who buys a piece of property and has an old house on it and has a pleasure garden. And in the pleasure garden are a bunch of statues, all nude, and most of them in the middle of pleasuring themselves. There's one, however, who is nude but not pleasuring himself, and she's drawn to this one statue and she can't help herself, and she goes and she kisses it. And when she kisses the statue, it comes to life. And it's funny and it's cute. You find out why the statue was a statue, who the statue really is. It's a romance, and it's cute and it's stupid and it's fluffy. The next book that I read was A Court of Frost and Starlight, because of course that came out, so I absolutely had to get my hands on it immediately. Nowhere on the island has it, and a friend of mine bought it for me and is sending it to me. I already paid her for it and she has already sent it, but she sent it media, which means it'll be here in a month. And because it's going to take so long to get here, it's not going to be here in time before I leave. So I'm going to do this without the actual physical book. I bought it on my Kindle so I could read it right away, and I had a bunch of credits and was able to buy it for $1. And I know this book is getting a lot of hate, but I thought it was super, super cute. It is, in fact, an episode of Friends, and it is happy and cute and fluffy. It has no real plot except for some ideas of what the next books are going to be about. If you don't know, which I'd be surprised if you didn't, it is book 3.5 of the Court of Thorns and Roses series. It is a bridge from A Court of Wings and Ruin, and then the new books that will be coming out next year. It kind of closes Feyre and Rhys's story and opens a new story. I think it's super cute, and I really, really liked it. I don't understand all the hate. We knew it was going to be a novella. We knew it was a bridge, and we knew there wasn't a lot going to happen. I do agree, because of the setting was around Christmas time, it would have been a wonderful Christmas read. But it's hot here for Christmas as well as for May. So it really didn't matter when I read it. I was still going to be hot. So I thought it was cute. I liked it. I give it a thumbs up. I don't know what everyone else is complaining about. So the next book I read was on my phone. It was a library book, and I have to consult my book. It's called Zodiac, Star Force by the Power of Astra. And this was really, really bright comic, graphic novel. I liked it a lot. It was really cute. It was fun to read, and I really enjoyed it. It's all there was to it. It was kind of light and fluffy. There wasn't a really big fight or a really big, I don't know. There wasn't much to it. It was cute. I liked it. I enjoyed it very much. I had to read it with a magnifying glass though, because I couldn't get it on my Kindle. I could only get it on my phone, and some of the writing was really, really small. So I have a big magnifying glass, and I just set my phone underneath it so I could read some of the small print, because I'm old. But I liked it. It was a lot of fun. And after Zodiac, I actually started reading books from my pile here. So let me pull out the book. I'm actually going in chronological order this time because there were so many ebooks. I didn't want to try to just read them this way, try to guess all of them, or I would totally forget because I'm already forgetting stuff. So this was the first physical book that I actually read. It's called Dreamology. It was cute. I really liked it. It's about this girl who has dreams of the same boy. She's had dreams of him for as long as she can remember. And she moves to a new city. She actually moves back to Boston, where her parents lived when she was a kid, and moved into her grandmother's house. She starts her first day of high school and runs into the boy in her dreams. It's a lot of drama. There's a little bit of a mystery trying to figure out why they are dreaming about each other. And there's a little bit of a triangle, a romance triangle, and I kind of feel like she ended up with the wrong guy. But personal opinions, I've actually heard other people say the same thing. But overall, it was really cute and I really enjoyed it. Okay, so the next ones I have are by the same author. They're all audiobooks, and I'll show them to you in the order that I listened to them. One of them I just finished a couple of days ago, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you all three because they're all from the same author. The first book that I finished was The Blood of Olympus, which is the 5th book in the Heroes of Olympus series. It's the final book, and we got to wrap up the story of the 7, I guess. I don't know how you would describe this one. It is a direct follow-up from the Percy Jackson books. Percy Jackson is in this series, as well as a bunch of new characters. I really, really like this book. I think that I like this series better than the Percy Jackson series by far. After that, I listened to Apollo. This one is The Hidden Oracle. This is the first book in a 5-book series, and only 3 are out so far, and I've only listened to the first one so far. So basically what happens is following the stuff that happened in the Heroes of Olympus books, Apollo is getting punished by Zeus for his hand in the drama that happens in the Heroes of Olympus books. I don't want to say what the drama is, just in case you haven't read any of them, but because of his involvement, he is being punished, and because he's being punished, he's made into a 15-year-old boy or 16-year-old boy, something like that. He's made into a teenage boy. He's completely mortal, has no powers. He even has acne, which he complains about constantly. He complains about his fat because apparently it's gluttonous not to have a 6-pack, when in reality he's just an ordinary, healthy weighted teenage boy. It annoyed me a little bit. His constant belittling of teenage boys bothered me just a little bit. I did like it though. It was definitely interesting. It was kind of short, and I am continuing with the series. I just haven't yet. Instead of continuing with the Apollo books, I read the Magnus Chase book. I was trying to find a good key on what order to read these in, because some of the characters from the Heroes of Olympus books are in here, and then this is about Magnus Chase, who is Annabeth Chase's cousin, and she is in here. But I read it. It really doesn't matter which one you read first. This is only a trilogy, and all 3 books are out, and this one is hilarious. Me and my daughter have been listening to it, and it took me a lot longer to listen to than I anticipated because she refused to let me listen to it without her because she liked it so much. So I told her we had to hurry up and finish it because I was going to lose it from the library and I didn't want to have to wait for it again. And it's hilarious. So it's where those books are all Greek mythology. This one is Norse mythology, which I thought was a nice, fun change of pace. I really, really enjoyed this one. This one was definitely by far probably my favorite Rick Riordan book so far. And Elise agreed with me. She liked it a lot also. So after the first 2 books, I also went back to my Kindle and I listened to Piper. I read Piper. In Piper, I had a really torn feeling on. I enjoyed the mythology behind the Pied Piper and some of the story that the authors, Jay Asher was one of the authors for it, that they crafted. There was just parts of it that I didn't like. I loved the artwork. I was going to buy this one and I'm glad I didn't, but there was nothing wrong with it. I don't know, something about it bothered me, so I couldn't give it like my full gung-ho opinion on it. But basically, it's about the Pied Piper and a legend that goes along with it. My favorite part of the book was the legend, and the rest of it just kind of fell a little flat for me. But at bare minimum, I think it is worth reading the legend. It was kind of cool. After I finished Piper, I read Obsidian, and Obsidian took me forever to read. I really enjoy this series, but because of the format of it, it's really easy for me to put it down and forget to pick it back up. There's nothing really holding me to the characters, there's nothing really holding me to the story, and even though I really enjoyed it, I think I gave it 4 stars. I gave it 4.5 stars, so I really, really enjoyed the series. I don't know how to describe it. It's too easy to put down. You don't really get inside the heads too much of the characters. You don't feel like you're super connected with them. And so for me, it was just really easy to put it down. But when I was reading it, I was really enjoying it. When I wasn't reading it, it was just sitting there. And I had to remind myself, you like this book, you like this series, go finish it. So eventually I did finish it and I did like it a lot. I do recommend it, but be warned that for some people, the format, fun as it may be, makes it a little bit harder to connect with the characters. After I read that, I read Aldolpho. I heard that it was a really, really cute middle grade book about a girl, a bunny, who is deaf, who gets sick, I think it's meningitis or something. And while sick, her brain swells. It causes her to lose her hearing. I really, really think this book would be great for middle grade kids. I really think it'd be great for an elementary school child to understand more about being deaf. Not so great for an adult. It was kind of boring because you're talking about a little girl who is deaf and who has her first crush and who has problems with friends. She doesn't want to learn sign language. She doesn't want help. She doesn't really want to wear her hearing aids, any of that kind of stuff. And you see her develop through the book, where she learns that her hearing could be an asset, and she calls herself Aldolpho because that is her superhero persona. And I think it's really cute, and I definitely think it's really worth reading to your children. If my kids were younger, I would have sat them down and read this to them because I really think that it has great merit for that. But as an adult who understands the basics about the deaf community, because I took a sign language class, it was something that I was really, really interested in, which is one of the reasons I wanted to read this in the first place. The story just felt very juvenile, but it's meant to be juvenile. It's meant for kids. So if you have kids or you are younger, by all means, please read this book. It really gives one person's account of what it was like to be deaf in the late 70s. And of course, it is kind of a memoir style. The author is deaf. This is some of the stuff that she went through. So it's kind of a, story about her life and what it meant to her to be deaf in the 70s. Overall, wonderful book. Definitely give it a recommendation. The next thing I read was Lumberjanes Volume 1. I love this book. It was great. I have Volume 2. It's on my Kindle. I just have not gotten to it because I've been trying to read actual books, not just my library books, which is not working, as we can clearly see by the amount of graphic novels that I read this month and the sheer lack of books I physically read, because I think I physically read 4, and one of them was a 220-page novella. But Lumberjanes was great. It was so much fun. The characters, they have different ethnicities. There's a possible budding romance between 2 of them. It was just a lot of fun. It was so funny to read about, and they have some sort of hijinks with a monster in every chapter. It was a blast. I loved it, and I cannot wait to read the second one, and I'm definitely putting these on the list of ones to buy later on. And then the last thing that I finished, in between listening to the Magnus Chase books, I was listening to Karvall. So I started Karvall when I was at the dentist a couple of weeks ago, a week or two ago. It wasn't that long ago. But Elise refused to let me listen to Magnus without making me feel utterly horrible. So I asked my friends what I should listen to. I listed off all the books that I had that were sitting in my Audible account on listen to, and they all picked Karvall. So I listened to this, and this is read by one of my favorite narrators. Her name's Rebecca Stoll, and she is the narrator for the entire Cinder Lunar Chronicles. She reads this book and Legendary, which I just got. I have not listened to it yet, though. I'm listening to The Daughter of the Pirate. No, The Daughter of the Siren Queen. But I'm listening to that one next. And I love this narrator. She does all of Marissa Meyer's books. And every time I listen to her, she's just by far and away my favorite narrator. So I had a great book with one of my favorite narrators, and I just absorbed this thing. I actually got to the point where I loved it so much that I was sitting down with it and physically reading it and listening to it at the same time because I liked it that much. So I would definitely recommend this because I liked it, and I'm looking forward to Legendary. So that's it. That's my list of 12 things that I read and or listened to this month. This was kind of a slow month for me. It took me way too long to get through Obsidian. I just wasn't feeling reading much. I'm still not feeling reading much. I'm really hoping that once I'm packed and all of my pre-filming and editing are all done, that I'll actually have a little bit of energy left to read. So I will talk to you guys in my next video, and if you have any other questions about the stuff that I read this month, please let me know. Bye!